thought I was getting hair and makeup.
You should have told me. I would have gotten somebody lined up. I should have done hair and makeup. Ready? All right. Here we go. Welcome to the Ruston Lincoln Chamber of Commerce Cornerstone Conversations at the Origin Bank Podcast Suites. Today we are sitting down with someone who is no stranger to leadership, service, and Ruston. Our new police chief, Eric Watson. Welcome, Chief Watson.
Thank you, Bevan. Good afternoon.
We are excited to have you here. You have had a long and interesting career in law enforcement.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you give us a little background on you, your family, and your career?
Sure.
Thus far?
I grew up around the Ruston area. Actually lived over close to Arcadia. Went to school at Cedar Creek. Graduated from Cedar Creek, joined the military to help pay for college, and ended up being deployed to the Gulf War. Went to the big war in '90 and '91, and came back from that. Went to Louisiana Tech. Spent a long time finishing my degree at Louisiana Tech.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, had a good time. Started to work at the police department while I was at Tech, and somewhere in there I got married and was working night shift at the police department and going to school. And so, for a lot of those reasons, it took me a long time to get out of school. But I finally graduated, and I'd been at the police department from '93 until '98. I left the police department. I went to work for the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA. And
Here?
Well, I applied here, got hired
Okay.
out of the New Orleans division,
Okay.
and then they send you away. You can't live in where you work. So back then you couldn't. You can now. So I went to Quantico, Virginia for training. Spent 4 months there. Had a little baby during this period. My little girl was 4 months old when I left.
Oh, wow.
And stayed gone for I guess it's about 4 months. And they sent me to Kansas City. So we moved, packed up a family, we moved to Kansas City. Had a little boy while I was there, my son, and we stayed in Kansas City for about 6 years.
Kansas City's a pretty good place.
Oh, we had a great time.
Yeah.
I love the Four Seasons that they have up there. We had a great time in Kansas City. The work was, law enforcement community is fantastic up there. I learned a lot working with state and local agencies. It was a great time to be a DEA agent in that area. Methamphetamine was exploding. It was a good time. We moved down to North Arkansas. We lived there for about 10 years. I was still with DEA. I promoted there. For the first time I promoted was in Arkansas, and we stayed there, and I was a group supervisor for a little while. And a job came open in Shreveport, so this would bring us back to Louisiana.
Okay.
And so I came back to Shreveport. We bought a house in Benton, and my kids went to Benton High School. And we stayed in North Louisiana. My family stayed in North Louisiana, and I worked out of Shreveport for about 3 years. And when you promote with DEA, you have to go to Washington. So in 2016 or 17, they sent me to Washington. So I left my family in Louisiana.
For how long?
2 kids in high school, and I went to Washington for a little over a year. And you have to do, at the time, you had to do like 3 years. So I couldn't just come back and go to work. So I went to Dallas.
Because it was closer.
Yeah, I went to Dallas to our internal affairs division. So
Okay,
I had
that's big time.
It was big time. It was a really sought after position because you're doing your headquarters time, but you're doing it in Dallas. We had 4 of those offices around the U.S. But anyway, that's a pretty sought after position, and I was fortunate. And so I had an apartment in Dallas. My wife and kids lived in Benton. So I came home when I could and traveled all over the U.S. and got to do a lot of traveling in South America. And it was a good time. It really was a fun job. I helped a lot of people that had a bad day. Doesn't mean that you ruin their career.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so then I was going to retire, and a job came open in Pakistan to be the country attaché, where you're working out of the U.S. Embassy with the State Department. And
So you went from retirement to we're just gonna go real big.
I'm going to go to Pakistan.
I'm gonna go to
I'd always
Pakistan.
wanted to do it, and I always wanted to work overseas, and the opportunity was there. Had 2 kids at LSU at the time, so my wife stayed in Benton. I went to Pakistan, and worked.
What does your wife do?
She's an RN.
She's an RN. Okay, that's right. Okay.
So went to Pakistan, stayed over there for a little over 2 years, and came back. Was going to retire, came back, and the job that I'd had in Shreveport previously, the resident agent in charge, was open, and the boss in New Orleans asked me if I'd be interested in staying and take that job, so I did. So I did that until 2024, and I retired.
And then you were gonna retire.
And then I was going to retire. You see a pattern?
I see a pattern.
And
yeah.
so I was going to retire, and I did retire, and I went to work for a company in Shreveport, Shreveport Communications, that sells Motorola products to law enforcement. So kind of kept my contacts and utilized my network for that. And
So that kind of brings me to my next question.
yeah.
So what drew you back home?
Actually, I got approached by some people here in Ruston. The police chief here, Steve Rogers, who I've known a long time, was planning on retiring, and I said, "Well, I don't really know if I want to do that." I knew I would need to move back over here, which we really wanted to do. To move back to this area has always kind of been close to home, and it always felt like home to us. And so I kind of dismissed it. And then it came up again, and then it came up. Steve was going to retire, and some people talked to me more seriously about it. And I said, you know what, I'll throw my name in the hat.
Well, we're glad you did.
Well, thank you.
We're glad you did. New leadership, it's a big transition.
It is.
For everyone in the police department. So what's your mindset as you've kind of stepped into this new role?
Just traveling around the U.S., working with so many different law enforcement agencies, I don't think everybody's got a corner on the market on the best way to do anything in law enforcement. But I feel like I've taken some nuggets from each one of the places where I've been, the state and local agencies that I've been fortunate enough to work with. So hopefully I can apply some of that here.
You've had a lot of experience.
There's a lot of people that have experience, but I feel like that you have to take advantage of those experiences and apply them. And
Yeah.
Hopefully I can do that for the better.
Okay, so staffing, that can be tough. Ruston's changed a lot over the years. More people, more businesses, more activities. What are your thoughts on how the department needs to grow in order to kind of fit these needs of Ruston growing so much?
So just in sheer numbers, we're probably about 20 officers down from where we should be with the population of the city and the number of businesses that we have. Hopefully I can change that. But I don't want to just put people in seats.
You want the right people.
I want the right people. I want quality people, and I don't want to have to lower our standard just to fill seats. So that's a challenge everybody in law enforcement is having to deal with. Law enforcement used to be like a serious career move. Now I think a lot of young people just try to do it for a job for a minute, and then they move on to something else. So your heart's really got to be in it. And I think it's a special fraternity that we belong to in law enforcement, and it's not everybody's not cut out for it.
So what are people doing now to recruit or to try to find the right people?
It's all about incentives, but the thing about it is just because of the type of people that are going into law enforcement, literally you'll have guys and gals leaving agency for $2 more an hour.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to maintain staffing when you have people that are looking for just very small incentives to stay.
Yeah.
The sheriff and I, Stephen, have talked about this a lot. It's hard to retain people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And morale is a big part.
Morale is a big part, and I feel like I bring a certain energy to the table. I like to be busy, so I told them that I was not going to be a micromanager, but I was going to be micro involved and micro engaged. And I feel like that I am 4 months or so in. And, I like to go to shift change and see what's happening. I like to talk to the guys about what they did that night on the shift. And I feel like that brings a certain energy and motivation to it.
Yeah, we had a conversation one time, kind of stuck with me. You said something about being a gentleman, that you tell your guys. I don't remember exactly what it was, so.
Well, I tell them to be nice until you don't have to be nice.
Yeah.
And I feel like, it makes a positive impression. And every chance we get, we should have a positive interaction with the public. Not every interaction is going to be positive, but I would like for as many people as we can to leave with a positive impression of the police department. So watch what you say. Everything's being recorded. I hate it when that body-worn camera comes out and you said something that was less than pleasant. On that body-worn camera, it's not going to play well in court 6 months down the road. So I tell them, be pleasant, be a gentleman, and take care of business. Don't get run over.
Yeah, and you're out in the community meeting people and meeting people prior to trouble coming.
Yeah, that's part of my plan. It's the time to get to know people in the community, business leaders, residential members of the community at every level. The time to get to know them is not when a critical incident happens at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. The time to get to know them is now, when everything's fine, and they can put a face with the name. And then when something does happen, you know who to contact, and I feel like it goes a lot better.
Yeah, you already have a trust built.
Sure.
In the face with the name. Okay, so there's been a lot of conversation about technology, community safety. This was super interesting to me, especially when it comes to things like public cameras and surveillance tools. So kind of tell me your take on this and kind of what your plans are and how it would benefit.
So the mayor has been very supportive in some ideas that I've had about utilizing modern technology in law enforcement. It's the direction we were just talking before we went on the record about all the technology that's out there. Law enforcement's got to take advantage of it, just like every other service in the community is taking advantage of it. And there's a lot of things out there utilizing license plate readers, cameras, surveillance cameras, traffic cameras, and there's software out there now where you can bring that all into your own backyard, and it integrates our body-worn cameras, our in-car cameras, cameras that schools use, cameras that banks use. You can integrate that all into one system, and when, for instance, one of the local schools have a critical incident, and they call 911. Before officers even have a chance to respond, we could click on that camera and see what's happening inside that school. This is not something that we would ever take advantage of in any other situation but a critical incident. So that's something people worry about, and I get it, but it's a tool that we would have at our disposal to use.
Very beneficial.
Yeah, and then in the same respect, we would also have access to that body-worn camera that law enforcement officer is wearing, and we could click on his camera and see what he's seeing, and we could tell him what we're seeing from those cameras that are deployed around, say, a school, say Louisiana Tech campus, say a bank that gives an alarm, sends
You
out
have
an
live
alarm.
footage of what's going on
we have
in a
live footage,
situation.
and we can tell officers how to respond, and that's there, and really it's not extremely expensive. Like I said, the mayor's been very supportive in that. He's reaching out to some of our federal partners to try to get us assistance to build what we're going to call a real-time intelligence center. And we have we have a location already in mind to put that.
That's huge. You had you mentioned something one time when we were having a conversation about like the traffic cameras. People get a little nervous about the traffic cameras, but they could be so beneficial with crime.
Yeah, and these are traffic cameras, not that are going to take a picture of your license plate and write your ticket. I'm not a fan of that at all. These are traffic cameras that we could literally find a suspect vehicle that went through the intersection here at Georgia and Trenton at 2 o'clock in the morning. We go back and we see it on this traffic camera, and then say it checks checks an LPR license plate reader at Georgia and I-20 as it's getting on the interstate. Well, we know now that, okay, that vehicle left the city eastbound on the interstate. And this is the way crimes are being solved now.
Yep.
I'm not giving away anything that's hidden secrets. It's just the way the world is moving now.
Technology is huge.
And
with
Ruston,
everything.
fortunately, we have some assets that we can use to do that, to benefit the police department. But more than that, to benefit the citizens of Ruston. And I feel like the citizens of Ruston and greater Lincoln Parish area, I feel like they deserve that. They deserve us, the police department and the sheriff's department and Louisiana Tech, to work together to make the whole area safer.
Yep.
They should not expect anything less.
Yep.
And I've talked about that with the sheriff's department and Louisiana Tech. And we're all of the same mindset.
So whenever you're out in the community, this is getting positive feedback.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any negative feedback about it. I know how some people are about surveillance and that kind of thing, but they got to understand that we're just going to use this to benefit them,
To keep them
to
safe.
literally get their property
Yeah.
back and to keep them safe.
Yep. So I have heard you're passionate about engaging senior citizens in new ways. What are some community programs or outreach or ideas that you're kind of excited to bring about that?
So Ruston's like any other community. We have a growing population of senior citizens. We're discussing having a senior citizens academy. The fire department just had a citizens academy, and we're going to have something similar. I talked to my good friend, the police chief over in Monroe, Vic Zorden. He had a senior citizens academy. He had a lot more people interested in
Such a great idea.
to get them involved, kind of see how law enforcement works, why we do some of the things that we do. But yeah,
That is like really a great idea.
and
Very exciting.
I have a couple of reserve officers that have a law enforcement background that are assisting in putting all that together.
Well, I've got a dad and a bunch of uncles that sit around and drink coffee and need to do something else with their time, so I'm gonna send them your way.
Please do.
Okay, so you've worked national, even international levels, but now you're leading a small southern city. So how do you think that your broader experience, and we touched on this earlier, but how do you think your broader experience shapes on how you're going to lead here in Ruston?
Well, just like anybody, I don't think it's that different. Everybody has had to deal with people at different levels and different levels of experience, and my job is no different really. But, a few things that I've learned is I've had to supervise a lot of different people in a lot of different places. And I find it funny when I deal with the guys at the police department. It's just not a shot at any of them, but they all have personalities like someone that I've dealt with.
That you've
in
dealt
the
with
past.
before.
And like I could call their name and say, okay, you're exactly like so-and-so, and this worked with him, and I've actually taken advantage of that a few times. But one of the benefits is just the vast network that I have, and
Sure.
contacts that I have, and can reach out and ask people questions. I have a guy that I worked with in DEA for several years. He's actually from Louisiana. He's a police chief over in Alabama. Well, none of us are recreating the wheel, so I call him. Hey, what did you do on this policy? What do you think about this? Did this work? And he's able to give me that information. The police chief in Monroe and he's a retired DEA agent that works for me. He and I share information. So, just not being completely from here and having traveled around, I think it gives me a little bit better network to pull from.
Sure, yeah. Broader horizon, for sure. So, looking ahead, say we fast forward a year from now, what would success look like to you?
Success would be 50 plus sworn officers, 8 to 9 on a shift. Right now, some shifts we have 4 to 5, so I would like to have a lot more guys on patrol. I would like to have 4 to 5 people in CID, our Criminal Investigation Division. I'd like to have a juvenile department, juvenile section, have a couple of people that focus on juvenile. Those are just, that's all staffing, I guess.
But
I would like to think that we bit different. I'm not gonna say better, but a different reputation with the public. Again, I'm not saying better, I'm saying different. And I want this to be a much more professional police department. And I've made that clear with everybody that I've talked to about it. And we're gonna get there. I've gotta have people in seats, but we're gonna get there. And I also have high expectations for the real-time intelligence center that
We're gonna make that happen.
I hope so.
We're gonna make that happen. Okay, somebody is interested in applying for a position. Where would they go? What would they do? Who would they talk to?
They can come to the office. We have one of the officers is assigned to recruiting, Arthur Elam.
Okay.
Or they can apply online.
Okay. Good to know. So what do you hope people will say has changed, improved, or strengthened under your leadership?
Ruston's a pretty safe environment. It's not Mayberry. We have a little bit of Mayberry in us, I like to say.
Let's just pretend like it is. We all like to pretend like it's Mayberry.
We had quite a few vehicle burglaries this week
Yes,
that I'm
well.
not really excited about. But I guess I would like to say that they notice a more proactive police department.
Yes.
Proactive doesn't necessarily mean aggressive. Proactive just means you're busy with the public.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope for. That's what I would like to see. I'm busy. I think everybody ought to be busy.
Yeah.
My kids say it's a character flaw because if I'm doing something, everybody should be doing
My
something.
kids say the same
And-
exact thing about me.
And I feel like these guys that when I'm working and I'm busy, I want them to be working and busy. But
Yeah.
Also law enforcement is a fun job for the most part. You can have fun doing it, but they need to be out enforcing the law, being courteous to the public, and if there's guns and drugs on the street, they need to be looking for it.
Yeah.
That's what I want them doing.
So how long have you been here thus far?
Started March the 5th.
March the 5th. Well, I will say that you have done an excellent job thus far.
Well, thank you.
Being out and about, you're at all the events and meeting all the people and doing a great job so far. So we are very thankful and very excited that
Thank
you
you.
are here. And
Appreciate
our
it.
leader. And we are so glad you were with us today.
Thank you. This
And
is a
it's-
good time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I told you it wasn't so bad, and it's Friday, so now we're just going to
It
do the
is.
weekend.
It is.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
with
you.
us.
You bet, baby. Thank you.